We are a river city, a bold city, the First Coast, a place to create and to belong. Here, the sun shines a little brighter, and so do the people. We share a love for our region, a pride for JAX, and a passion for the beautiful game, dedicated to giving everyone a sporting chance. Together, we will elevate soccer and sport in our community by lifting every voice. We are Sporting Club Jacksonville. We are Sporting JAX.
Hello and welcome into the Sporting JAX Report along with Mauricio Ruiz. I'm Cole Pepper. As we wrap up 2024, we're looking back on a busy and eventful year and looking ahead to 2025, a year that will include the first games played for Sporting JAX as the women's team debuts in the USL Super League. We'll also take notice of the progress made by the league in the first year, and we look ahead to what's next for the U.S. women's national team. But let's start with a look back. 2024 was a year of building and growth for Sporting JAX. We saw a lot of the vision for the club begin to come to reality and more of the future begin to take shape. Let's look back on the year that was 2024 for Sporting JAX. After 2023 ended with the announcement of the team name and brand identity, 2024 opened with the opening of our South Jacksonville offices. The office allowed the club to begin hosting meetings with potential sponsors and partners. Shortly thereafter, we launched the Sporting Pod. The weekly podcast continues to bring fans behind the scenes of what's happening with the club and laying the foundation for the future. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon Music. Not too long after the launch of the Sporting Pod, the USL Super League received Division I status from U.S. Soccer, meaning that there would be two top-flight women's soccer leagues in the United States. As the spring opened, Sporting JAX hosted a number of watch parties to help bring the soccer community together. From the kickoff of the USL Championship season to U.S. men's and women's national team matches, including in the Copa America, soccer fans gathered at Island Wing Company, Colhane's, and Grace Note Brewing for these watch parties to give fans the additional chance to learn more about the growth of Sporting JAX. In quick succession, Sporting JAX announced broadcast partnerships with First Coast News on TV and 1010XL Radio, and debuted the Sporting JAX Report and the Sporting JAX Soccer Hour. As the summer approached, Sporting JAX helped to spread the word about the Stateside Cup, which included a match in Jacksonville between Wolves and West Ham. A planned youth soccer clinic was washed out by inclement weather, and the game was delayed for a time, but presented a great chance to see two Premier League teams face off in Jacksonville. During the course of 2024, the front office of Sporting JAX grew as we added some talented and energetic teammates, like Director of Marketing David Phillips, Director of Ticketing Madison Halesko, and partnership stud Sarah Garcia Malone, as well as marketing assistant Hisham Bilal. As August arrived, we made the trip to Tampa to see the inaugural game for USL Super League club, the Tampa Bay Sun, against the Dallas Trinity. We also supported a big local women's soccer game as UNF hosted Florida. In September, we welcomed founding member season ticket depositors to our headquarters for a signing day. In October, we launched the Sporting JAX Foundation, a nonprofit arm of the club that uses the game to lift kids and communities in our area. We also held the second annual High School Soccer Media Day at the Riverside YMCA. Then a big finish to the year. First, the announcement of the combination of Sporting JAX and Florida Elite Soccer Academy to formalize a pathway to the pros for local soccer stars. And then December's big announcement, the kickoff of the USL Super League team at UNF's Hodges Stadium starting next August. It was a busy 2024, and there are more big moments to come in 2025. All right, we now welcome in Becky Burleigh. Get Becky and Mauricio's thoughts on 2024. Becky, will we start with you? What was the most memorable moment or event of the year for you for Sporting JAX?
I thought the announcement of us partnering with UNF was really, really important because it just makes things tangible and it allows us to start working on many other parts of the business. You know, like from a marketing standpoint, people know where we're going to play. From a ticketing standpoint, people know where we're going to play. And I just think that's a great partnership. And I'm excited that that's where we're going to start. And I'm hoping that that's going to really take this community and give us a direction as to where people can find Sporting JAX on the field.
Mauricio, how about you? What was the most memorable thing for you in 2024?
It's hard to pick one, especially after seeing everything that we've done. But the High School Media Day is something that we launched from nothing last year. And so to see the growth that it took place this year and the excitement and now almost the expectation that's going to take place, seeing high school coaches and players that maybe compete against each other in one room to stay together and actually network a little bit, that was pretty special.
I will admit I'm biased in my selection here. But for me, the most memorable thing was launching this show. Certainly I'm biased on the broadcasting side of things, but getting this show off the ground was a big deal for the club, and it continues to allow us to reach out to thousands of soccer fans every week and share our progress, educate Jacksonville on the USL Championship and the USL Super League. And it's always great to work with both you and Becky as well as the entire team here at First Coast News each and every week. All right, so that was the most memorable. What about the most impactful moment of the year for you, Becky?
The most impactful, I don't know, for me personally, I really felt like when we were able to go to Tampa together, watch the initial game of the Tampa Bay team, to me, it's just felt real at that point. Like the league was in motion and things were happening. And there was a lot that led up to that moment. So much that led up to that moment for every club that's playing right now and the league itself. And so to me, that's where it just started to really feel real.
That's good stuff. Mal, how about you?
Yeah, and I'll kind of stick to the grassroots work that's being done within the community. Talk about High School Media Day being special, but also the combination with Florida League and what our academy in the future will start looking like. That's just the beginning stage of it, but to know that we have a starting point with a good partner in town to see where it's going to go, so future young players can now potentially see themselves playing professionally here. I think that's going to be pretty impactful going forward.
That word impact, when I hear that, it really speaks to me, and I can pretty much pick anything around the women's team. And the difference having a professional women's team in Jacksonville is going to create. There has never been a professional women's team of any sport in the history of the city of Jacksonville. Now we're bringing that, and now that we know that when that's going to start next August at UNF's Hodges Stadium, the difference that that's going to make in the short term and in the long term, I think is going to be absolutely massive in our city. So that's something I'm extremely excited about looking forward. But anything that laid the groundwork for that here in 2024, I think was extremely impactful. All right, now let's look ahead. 2025 is going to be an even bigger year for the club. Becky, what are you most looking forward to in the new year?
I'm most looking forward to getting our staff in place, particularly the technical staff, because I think once we have a head coach, that person is going to start building a roster, and then we're going to be able to put names and faces with the organization, and they're going to build the roster based on the values that the club has. And that's, I think, one of the strongest foundational pieces of this club is the people who have already been involved and the values that they've created within this club. And I'm very excited to see the technical staff build on that.
I think we would all echo that, Becky, for sure. Mauricio, how about you? Pick something else.
Well, since you stole my answer as well, which is a good answer, by the way, I'm really looking forward to that ball just getting kicked. You know, that first ball, the first whistle, fans in the stands, I think is something that we're going to see. It's not going to be perfect by any means, but once again, it's going to be that starting point of all this work that's being done up to that point, but the work that's still yet to be done for our community. So really kind of getting that first whistle when the ball gets rolled, I think it'll be pretty special.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to learning about the players who are going to represent Jacksonville and Sporting JAX. That'll happen in several months away. But the other part of this is kind of an easy one for me, and that is the first time the team runs out on the pitch at Hodges Stadium wearing the team kit. I think that's going to be an amazing experience. I'm expecting the inaugural game is going to be a sellout, and I think it's going to be a fantastic milestone in Jacksonville sports, not just for the club, but for the city and for women's sports in general. Very much looking forward to that. Season tickets for the inaugural 2025-2026 Sporting JAX USL Super League game and season are now on sale. Season tickets start as low as $10 per game for students, $12 per game for supporters, and $15 per game for general admission, with premium and field seating also available. Go to sportingjax.com to place your order and be among the first to join the movement. Coming up, we hear more from Becky. What did the U.S. women's national team accomplish this year? And what can they look forward to for 2025? That's next as the Sporting JAX report rolls on. We've got one more week of USL Super League action before the mid-year break. This weekend, as well as when the season resumes, you can catch all the USL Super League action streaming live on Peacock. Time now for USL Super League highlights from the week that was. You've got Lexington taking on Brooklyn FC. Early stages, Emily Apple to Mackenzie George, and she puts it away to make it 1-0. Later, second half, Luana Gravius, who's been so good, setting up Jessica Garziano for the goal. 2-0 Brooklyn. Brooklyn would look to stretch it as well in the closing minutes. Stoppage time, a giveaway, and Dana Sheriff, new sheriff in town. She puts it away 3-0. Brooklyn beats Lexington on the road. Fort Lauderdale taking on Spokane Zephyr. Early in this one, Ishada Hamid to Addie McCain for the goal. Fort Lauderdale up 1-0 early on. Spokane would come back, and after a Fort Lauderdale goal, Spokane pulls one back with Molly Rouse, but not enough. Not a 2-1 Fort Lauderdale win. Finally, Dallas Trinity hosting Tampa Bay Sun. After an own goal scored, Allie Thornton puts it away. Dallas a 2-0 victory at home over the Tampa Bay Sun. As you take another look at that placement on the goal to win it. Taking a look at the USL Super League standings, see that Brooklyn is on top right now and looking very comfortable as the first half starts to come to its conclusion. Again, just one more match week this week, as we'll have Fort Lauderdale and Tampa both having an extra game to make up. But Brooklyn has won 5 straight. Dallas Trinity, 3 wins and a draw in their last 5. Those two, the hottest teams in the league right now. Carolina Ascent has not gotten a win in their last 3. They've slipped from first to third in the standings. We now welcome back Becky Burleigh. Let's start with the USL Super League. Now that the first half of the inaugural season is wrapping up, how did the start of the league compare to your expectations, both on and off the pitch?
You know, there were a few hiccups here and there, but for a startup league where it's all over the country, I think it went remarkably smooth. And I'm very excited about where it started. And I think it's hard for people to remember previous professional leagues, whether it's in soccer or other sports. When they start, it is never going to be just this smooth path. But what I have noticed with USL is that it's so far ahead of where other leagues have started. So I think despite some of the small things that still are in progress in terms of continuing to make this league great, man, we are way ahead of most startups in terms of professional leagues.
But Becky, if we talk about the future of Sporting JAX as they get set to join the ESL Super League in August, what has the first half of the season showed that you think will impact the first team for Sporting JAX?
I think what the first half of the league has shown me is that really it comes down to who can put their vision in place and get the players that match that vision the quickest. They have had the most success early. And I think we've talked in the past, there's been some surprises there. But it seems to me like there's a lot of community involvement around these teams. There's been a lot of excitement, not just amongst the fans, but also amongst players being able to display their wares in an environment that's not over in Europe, that's not somewhere where they don't want to be. Like, the opportunity part has been huge. And I think their enthusiasm has carried over into the fan base.
All right, let's turn our attention to the U.S. women's national team. It seems that it could have not gone any better, really, for Emma Hayes in her first year as the manager of the U.S. women's national team.
Yeah, man, that's quite an entry. I think, she has had such an impact on the team already in such a short period of time. What's exciting about that is, like, where do we go from there? And, I think it's no coincidence that she has either her experience level, her IQ with players, building culture, all of those things. She's just a master coach. And so to see that spread out over a little bit more time where she actually has an opportunity to even impact it more, I think there's just very, very exciting times ahead for the U.S. women's national team.
Well, if we are looking ahead, the World Cup isn't until 2027. So what is important to accomplish here in 2025?
2025 is an interesting year because, you're still a little bit away from the World Cup, but it's a very critical time. And we've got some great friendlies coming up with some really, really good, solid opponents. And I think that's always hard to find, by the way. And so when you get those great opportunities, it's trying to see, like, okay, all this influx of new players that we've had, which has been a lot, by the way. How do they integrate? How do they progress? Who emerges? And there's some exciting players that are in this mix that are still young players that have been in the mix for a while. So how do they continue to emerge? Who becomes leaders on this team? There's so many unanswered questions, but this coming year, I think, will give us a big opportunity to answer some of those.
Becky, thank you. Good stuff there. Hey, it's not too early to become a season ticket member of Sporting JAX. Just go to sportingjax.com and put down your season ticket deposit if you aren't ready to purchase the full ticket. $25 reserves your spot for the men's or women's team. And if you want to reserve your spot for both, it's just $40. Just go to sportingjax.com to save your seat for pro soccer in Jacksonville. Still to come, our youth soccer spotlight, how one local team is continuing the tradition of giving. Sporting JAX will be unveiling the official kit in the new year, but already you can get your own Sporting JAX official merchandise, from t-shirts and hats to sweatshirts and the scarf. You can find Sporting JAX official merchandise at sportingjax.com, at our official team store on Phillips Highway, and at We Got Soccer. Time now for our Youth Soccer Spotlight, brought to you by the Bearded Pig Barbecue. This week we're previewing the annual Holiday Cup at Nease High School. It's a day of soccer that is about more than just the game. It's a way for local high school soccer teams to make a difference in the community. 4 years ago, Nease coach Fred Hallett had an idea to hold a holiday match between the green of Nease and the red of Creekside. Then an opportunity to make it something special popped up. Since turning the event into an opportunity to support local families in need, Hallett has seen the Holiday Cup grow from 2 teams to 4. Mandarin and Bartram Trail have both signed up to play this year, and they all are embracing the chance to help those in need through the Soaring High Community Outreach Program, and now also through Ronald McDonald House.
I just wanted to give back, and I said, why not just try something? So I talked with Cameron over at Creekside, told him my idea, and he was on board. He wanted to do it. So that's kind of how it all started. This will be our 4th year. And I remember at Valley Ridge Academy, that's where I teach, we were talking about a group of students that we have and how they all fly under this Soaring High Community Outreach. And they were saying that they needed X, Y, and Z for the upcoming holiday. And I thought, well, I mean, I could help. I got this cool idea. Let me see what we can raise. The original organization we worked with is called Soaring High, and it benefits a group of underprivileged families here in Nocatee, particularly that attend my school that I teach at, Valley Ridge Academy. Many of those students then go on to Nease, and I'm able to give back to this one organization that helps both schools and both families of both kids. Once we added the Ronald McDonald House last year, that reached different on a more personal level, just because of the connection with Austin and he had. But knowing that we are out there and able to help, these families that are going through unthinkable surgeries and situations, that we can just give a little something, it makes me feel good. And I would venture to say that it makes most of the students, most of the players and their families feel like they're also contributing, benefiting people, just themselves.
This year's games will be played December the 18th at Nease. The first game is Mandarin and Bartram Trail at 6, followed by Nease and Creekside at 8. The games are free to attend, and there's a list of items they're looking to donate, including gift cards from Walmart and Publix, twin-size blankets, and socks for kids and adults. But Mauricio, this is exactly what we talk about from a Sporting JAX perspective, of wanting to use the platform of professional soccer to raise the community, to lift the community, and really put a spotlight on and help support those who are already doing that, whether that's through soccer or otherwise.
That's it. And a lot of our initiatives really aren't our initiatives. We're just supporting or adding some support to some fuel to it. And Coach Hallett, he gets it. He's been doing it for a long time. He understands through his own kids and ones that he gets to teach and coach the impact that he has. So listening to their stories and coming up with ideas to figure it out. It's a beautiful tournament. The competition on the field is great, too.
Really good, yeah, too. And you talk about those teams. Those are 4 of the top teams in our area. Again, admission to those games free. And if you want to donate when you get there, that's a great way to help during this holiday season. Hey, be sure to join us every Tuesday night at 6 on 1010XL for the Sporting JAX Soccer Hour. That's on 1010 AM. You can also listen online or on demand at 1010XL.com. Still to come, a big week of Premier League soccer is straight ahead. That's next as the Sporting JAX report rolls on. You can watch the Sporting JAX report every Saturday before the start of the Premier League broadcast on NBC 12. And if you miss one, you can also find us on demand on First Coast News Plus and the Sporting JAX YouTube channel. Coming up right after we're done here, two teams in similar positions, but a year or two apart. Nottingham Forest hosting Aston Villa. We've seen Aston Villa playing and really putting a lot of their resources into the Champions League opportunity. They've done okay, though. Again, 5th versus 6th in the table. This should be an excellent matchup. It
should be a great match. And you think about where Nottingham Forest was last year. They were fighting relegation for most of the year. So not to think that they're fighting Champions League spot, it's incredible. And Aston Villa, just right there.
Of course, Forest has been very stingy defensively. They've really confounded a lot of folks, particularly playing at home. I think their last 4 Premier League home matches have all been wins with clean sheets. So one goal could make a huge difference in this one.
Yeah, it really can. And Aston Villa is a very good attacking side. They showed it last year. But Nottingham Forest really have a really top young defender in a Brazilian defender, Murilo. Watch out for his name. He's a 23-year-old. He's been with him last year, getting used to the Premier League. Now he's used to it. He's been called in. He's going to be a player that I believe a lot of the bigger clubs will be calling for.
Of course, also this weekend you have the Manchester Derby with a struggling Man City taking on Man U that's trying to find their footing. Every week, great matchups in the Premier League for us to watch.
Yeah, there really is. And I think that Manchester Derby's coming at kind of like a transitional time. City on the way down, Man U on the way up. So let's see what that happens, in that match particularly.
All right. Hey, if you aren't ready to commit to season tickets for Sporting JAX just yet, we do invite you to become a member of Sporting JAX. Just go to sportingjax.com to sign up. It's a free membership, and it comes with benefits like discounts on club merchandise and invitations to VIP events. It's free at sportingjax.com. And keep up to date with everything going on with Sporting JAX as we plow through toward the new year. Follow us on social media. You can see the handles there for X and for Instagram, for Facebook, for YouTube, and for TikTok. We're coming to the end of what has been a very important year for Sporting JAX. Looking forward to a big 2025 as well. For Becky Burleigh and Mauricio Ruiz, I'm Cole Pepper. Thanks so much for watching the Sporting JAX Report. We'll talk to you next week.